Brought to you by a paid sponsorship from the Humblewood.net campaign setting. Hopping, croaking, bleeding, surging inhumanely through the spectral moonlight in a grotesque, malignant saraband of fantastic nightmare. Some of them had tall tiaras of that nameless whitish gold metal, and some were strangely robed, and one, who led the way, was clad in a ghoulishly humped black coat and striped trousers. He had a man's felt hat perched on the shapeless thing that answered for a head. Their forms vaguely suggested the anthropoid, while their heads were the heads of fish, with prodigious, bulging eyes that never closed. These are Kuo Toa, obviously inspired by the creatures in H.P. Lovecraft's Shadows Over Innsmouth. Note the prodigious bulging eyes, which never close. So, back in Lovecraft's day, this was cosmic horror. But now, whether it's because of cultural changes or just because readers didn't properly visualize what Lovecraft was describing, they just look like big goofy cartoons. If you want to check the official way to run them, check the monster manual. But in today's one-day build, we'll talk about how I run everyone's favorite scary Innsmouth fish boys, the Kuo Toa. There's some references to the power of the Kuo Toa's beliefs in the MM. If they believe something strongly enough, they can create their own deities. One of my favorite things to do in a campaign is to have the Kuo Toa, also known as the God Makers, come to the surface for a birthing ritual in which they find a new god. A week or so before it gets crazy, people see freakish silhouettes in the harbor's surface. Conflict is created when the Kuo Toa start kidnapping people and laying thousands of eggs in their bloated corpses. Once the heroes go after them in earnest, if a Kuo Toa dies, they have a low percentage chance of creating a sort of god larvae out of the thing that killed them or the last cool thing they saw. If several Kuo Toa die at once, for each one that dies, the CR of the god larva is raised by 1. Crushed Kuo Toa eggs add 1/10 a CR for each destroyed within 6 seconds, and if the god larva is still alive and within line of sight of the Kuo Toa when they die, they add to its power instead of creating a new thing. Basically, if they believe it's a god, it becomes more godlike. The meta-narrative underneath this is that all gods and heroes were once figments of the Kuo Toa imagination. Ghoulish reimaginings of those creatures which, to the Kuo Toa mind, showed glimmers of greatness. I'll add a text of the rough rules I use to run these demigods and the Kuo Toa. Now, the key to not TPKing the group is that if the god becomes too powerful, firstly, it becomes huge and scary, and secondly, there's a good chance that it's not exactly against the players, unless they try to kill it when it's tiny. Anyway, but these adventures usually culminate in a Kua Toa massacre, a big demigod at the center of a harbor being worshipped by who's left. And then, the demigod, along with its new followers, slowly sinks back below the surface. Have fun with it. The god could be a big boot, or in most cases, it's just a big scary version of one of your PCs. Thanks for watching this episode of the Animated Spellbook, and that's not true. It's not an animated spellbook. Brought to you by the awesome campaign setting Humblewood from thedecofmany.com. Pre-orders and PDFs are available now for purchase. And if you're at Gen Con, definitely say hi to them, booth 2961 on Entrepreneur Avenue. Links in the description.